Once you file the correct paperwork with the clerk's office, you'll need to spend some time finding out about the people and procedures that you'll come across throughout your court proceedings. During these next few chapters, as we learn the roles of these important people and procedures within the Indiana court system, we'll also examine what's expected of you throughout this process. Included will be some background information, courtroom etiquette, and important tips that can help you better understand your relationship with the judge, the court staff, and others involved. First, a note about impartiality. The judge and the members of the court staff cannot help you or the other party argue or prove your case. They must remain completely impartial throughout the proceedings. They are not allowed to talk to either you or the other party outside of court. Nor may they read any letters or written statements you may have prepared concerning your case except during a court hearing. If you want the judge to read your testimony or written materials, you may, using correct courtroom procedures, submit these items as evidence. Submission of valid evidence is the only legal way to have the court consider your verbal or written testimony. This practice ensures fairness and impartiality throughout your case. Judges, clerks, law librarians, and other members of the court staff are not allowed to provide you with any legal advice, nor are they allowed to help you fill out forms and other paperwork pertaining to your case. The Indiana Supreme Court is very specific about the rules for providing legal advice. Only an attorney hired to represent you can provide legal instruction or guidance. Judges and court staff cannot provide legal advice or legal interpretations, advise you whether or not to pursue legal action in a court of law, or give you an opinion about the potential results of bringing your case to court, advise you what to say in court, allow you to talk to the judge outside the court, or represent you by talking to the judge about what will happen in your case, fill out a form for you, or tell you what words to use in your court papers, sign an order or change an order signed by the judge. Staff can answer questions that call for factual information, questions that start with who, what, where, when, or how. They cannot answer questions that call for an opinion about what you should do, questions that start with should or whether. For example, court staff can explain court rules and procedures, but they cannot suggest which of several procedures you should follow. Don't be late for your appointed court date and time. By the time your court date arrives, you will have spent a lot of time conducting research and working very hard to prepare the necessary legal paperwork for your case. The court will schedule your case many days in advance of the final hearing date. You will have plenty of time to plan for this important appointment. Make a good impression on the court by arriving on time. Even better, plan to be in the courtroom at least 15 minutes before your scheduled hearing time, and plan to bring copies of all your legal paperwork with you when you arrive. You may be asked to submit some final form or piece of information pertaining to your pleading. Be prepared. Be prompt. As you prepare for your court date, it is important that you dress in a manner that shows respect for the court and for the legal proceeding that is taking place. While you are not required to dress in formal attire, you should plan to dress as though you were planning to go to an important job interview or planning to attend a special occasion. Some courts may have specific guidelines for courtroom dress. It is always important to check with the court ahead of time to make sure that you know exactly what is expected of you. First impressions are always critical. If you want the court to take your arguments seriously, then you must dress appropriately so that people will take you seriously. If the judge thinks that you are inappropriately dressed, you may be asked to leave and return to court another day. You are not allowed to bring friends or family members with you to help you in your legal representation. While you certainly have a legal right to represent yourself in court, the law does not allow your friends or family members who are not attorneys to present themselves in court as your legal counsel. There may be times when it is necessary for you to present witnesses who may offer important evidence or testimony in court. The court recognizes that these witnesses may often include friends and relatives. In such instances, these people are acceptable in court, as long as they do not attempt to represent you as your legal counsel. You may also invite a friend or family member to join you in court simply for moral or emotional support. But remember that the appearance and behavior of anyone who joins you in the courtroom will reflect directly on you and your case. Therefore, your friends and family members should dress and act appropriately to show respect for the court and for the important proceeding of which you are a part. Your behavior in and around the courtroom and the court offices is also critically important. Here are some general guidelines for courtroom conduct. Do not bring children with you to your court appearance unless you are specifically asked to do so by the judge. Turn off cellular phones and pagers while in the courtroom, court offices, or when attending conferences called by the court. Do not chew gum, eat, or bring beverages into the courtroom at any time. Never appear in court if you have been consuming alcohol or illegal drugs. Enter and leave the courtroom quietly. Always stand when the judge or other judicial officer enters or leaves the bench. Always stand when addressing the judge or other judicial officer. Address these officials as Your Honor. Address all comments to the judge except when you are questioning a witness. Never yell or curse at the judge, the other party, or anyone else in the courtroom. Address all other people in the courtroom as either Mr. or Miss, or as Sir or Ma'am. An official record will be kept throughout the courtroom proceedings. All of your comments will be recorded. Be sure to speak clearly, slowly, and at a volume that can be heard and understood. Listen carefully and wait your turn to respond or speak. Do not interrupt others when they are talking. Along with copies of all your pleadings, be sure to bring a pen and paper to court with you. Take good notes so that you will have a record of what the other party is saying. This can also help you better prepare your own responses. If you get confused or do not understand something, or if you're confused about what you're required to do next, it is perfectly okay to ask questions. Always address the judge when you ask. Do not interrupt. Be sure to speak clearly and in a respectful manner.